I would love nothing more than to stop shitting on Rush Royale. Like to not make videos for a very long time and then to shit on Rush Royale and then not make videos for a really long time and then shit on Rush Royale. I would love to stop doing that. I would love to be happy about something. At this point, I'd take Plague Doctor Talons. Like, if they release Plague Doctor Talons so that we could play Plague Doctor Talons, or, Fire Mage Talons, or Cold Elemental Talons, and make Cold Elemental decks for, floor 5 of co-op. I would love to do that. I would love to talk about cool, smart things that Rush Royale does. And they're like, no, we will not stop. We will not stop doing things that you dislike. I used to be an official Rush Royale YouTube content creator. And by official, I mean like somebody with the badge. And if you backtrace my channel, you'll know where it was. And if you backtrace my channel, you'll know why I stopped. But in the case that you don't know why I stopped, let me explain. I wanted to be a Rush Royale YouTube content creator, not specifically for the money, because for the most part, I really didn't get money from them. You only get money from them if you have people that use your content creator code. But for a game that most people don't want to pay into, it's very hard to tell people to pay into Rush Royale and to also use your content creator code. So I never relied on that. What I relied on was the notoriety that I got because I had the badge, and it made me look like a quote-unquote official Rush Royale content creator. What I got into the Rush Royale Content Creator Program for was to try to make change. It's what I do everywhere I go. In every job I've ever had, I try to find problems and figure out a way to realistically change that problem. Rush Royale, two things about Rush Royale. Rush Royale, they find problems and then create new problems. They don't fix problems, they just create different problems. So they'll say something in the hopes of fixing a problem, and in actuality, they just create a different kind of problem. I did a meme, and if you guys didn't see it or if you don't understand what this is when they announced that Mirror Match was going to change. And so Mirror Match will become the sole format to regular events in Update 31.0, right? And the reasoning that they gave for this is it requires more time and effort, to play other events and put everyone, the other events put everyone in unequal conditions, whereas Mirror Match is equivalent, right? And that was the reason why they took out Royal Trials and Rush for Glory. They found that it was not equal, and so they want to come out with something that is equal, which at the time was just Mirror Match. Also, it was to simplify everything, right? And that's the reason that they would give you when they're making a change. And now they're introducing the Masters Tournament with level restrictions. Units you don't own will be temporarily granted at level 7, giving you a great chance, it's for you, the community, to try new ones. So there will be pre-selected decks that you have the ability to pick, and they will be based on your current levels of what you have those units at. And if you don't have any of those units, they will be at level 7, but if you already own the unit, it will be used at its current level, but not higher than 10. So if you have every single unit and you have them all at least 10, you will be able to play this at an equivalent Mirror Match level with everybody else, and it's equivalent. But if you don't, then you will be paired against people who have it at 10 and you have it at 7, 8, or 9 because it is equivalent to your levels. And if you don't have it, then you have it at 7. So they got rid of all Royal Trials and Rush for Glory because it was unfair. and because you wanted to simplify the process of it's just one event. So now you're saying, oh, we're adding a new event and it's not equivalent. and this is their reasoning. Their reasoning is that because the answer to why they're adding Masters Tournament is because. And that is one of the main problems with why I didn't want to become a Rush Royale an official content creator. You don't make change. You just say what the change is and enforce that it's a good idea. That's all we were asked to do as official Rush Royale content creators. I couldn't tell them this. I couldn't present this as data that this is dumb. They would just be like, well, it's happening, so just tell all of your YouTubers that, or all of your, people that watch your channel that this is just what the change is. And if you go into the Discord, that's all the people do. The people that are theoretically getting paid, maybe they're getting paid, moderators of the channel, Commander Ivy, Volky Talkie, all of these people, they maybe they theoretically get paid, but whether they do or not is not really the point. The point is all they are required to do is enforce that this is a correct change and this is what's happening regardless of what you think or regardless of how you feel about it. This is what's happening. Accept that change. Now, I want to use a metaphor here, and it's the idea that some schools started to ban books. And I'm going to use a very specific example because I understand it. And it's like when they started to ban like Harry Potter because of witchcraft, right? The principal, right, tells the teacher, we are banning these books, right? We're banning Harry Potter because it has witchcraft in it, right? Now you, as a student, can be like, well, then why are you tell the teacher, why are you banning Harry Potter, but you're able to do, like, Huckleberry Finn is still here, and that has racism, right? And it's like, oh, because that's a classic, but Harry Potter, we don't want witchcraft. And, it is against our core values as a school. Like, that's what the teacher has to say. Because the teacher was told by the principal, if you don't enforce this, and if you go against this, we're going to fire you. And we'll just find somebody else, because there's somebody else. There will always be somebody else who will just enforce this rule. This is the rule. We are banning Harry Potter because of witchcraft. Go tell your students. So then the teacher is like, okay, well, we're banning Harry Potter because of witchcraft. And the students tell the teacher, like, well, then why aren't you banning this other book? And they're like, well, because it's a classic, and, we that's not the mandate. We're not banning that book. We're banning Harry Potter because of witchcraft. And then they're saying, like, well, why? And they're like, well, because. The answer is because it has witchcraft. I just told you. And they're like, yeah, but, like, why? Why are we banning that? Why do we feel the need to ban books? Like, what is this going to realistically do? Like, is this going to change us to become wizards? Like, what is this going to do? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. We're banning the book. So give me that book. Here, it's going into the trash now. Now, weeks later, it comes down from the principal that, it's fine. Banning you don't need to ban Harry Potter. We've rescinded that decision, right? So then the teacher has to go back to the class and be like, hey, just so you guys know, we are unbanning Harry Potter. You may freely read Harry Potter. It's a great book. It has all these favorite characters. And, let's watch the movie today. It's a great, fun movie. Isn't this so fun? Isn't this a fun day? Isn't this so great? You can read Harry Potter. It's one of my favorites, actually. It's an amazing book. I love Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron. Like, that friendship teaches you all so much about friendship and the everlasting bond that you will have with all of your classmates. It's such a great book. That is the essential feeling of being a Rush Royale YouTube official content creator. or to be any of these community managers in this channel. If you talk to anybody, they are not really required to answer anything. They are only there to essentially enforce what is already a current mandate in the game, brought on by the developers that you will never have access or talk to as either a person watching this or as me, previously a Rush Royale official YouTube content creator. The only people that I was able to talk to were people that were basically Discord moderators. That's the highest up the chain that I ever got. I was never able to talk to a developer. I simply just had more access to talking to moderators that are already in the Discord chat. People that quote unquote answer questions. Critical damage. Now I'm going to read this at length because it's long, and I want you to understand that by the end of this, we will have no more information than what we started with. I'm letting you know up front. I'm going to read a lot of this, or I'm going to read all of this, and you will have no more information than you currently have now. And that is this post. So here we go. Right now, the parameter of critical damage plays a huge role in every player's experience. It influences the strategies of account development, drives active discussion about matchmaking, inspires conspiracy theories, and more. We won't go over every aspect of critical damage. Instead, we want to share a bit of what's happening behind the scenes of Rush Royale's development. Again, I will emphasize, you have no control over development. They do whatever they want to do because that's what they want to do. They are the principal banning or unbanning Harry Potter. And that has no real, you are so far beyond that decision because a teacher is somewhat related to that decision, but not really, because the principal just tells the teacher, this is what's happening. And the teacher has to then go to the class to you, the student, to say, this is what's happening. There is no decision making. It is just the principal's decision to do that thing or to not do that thing. And that thing right now is critical damage. The development team believe that the development team believes that the crit system has accumulated too much interlinked mechanics over time. As a result, elements that complicate gameplay now exceed those that give benefits. For example, now crit, because you're able to increase your crit, what's happened is that crit bow is the best thing. For somebody that has 8,000 crit, which is max crit in this game, they are going to be doing so much more damage than somebody who obviously has 1,000 crit. And because everything that you do, every time you upgrade all of your units, all of your heroes, especially all of your legendary heroes, whenever you upgrade anything, you're adding to your crit damage. And for the longest time, that is very tied to how much damage you do in the game. The accumulation of crit takes quite a while. You can deal massive amounts of damage and defeat opponents with lower crit values, yet the overall gameplay doesn't really change that much. You can play an exact same mirror match deck with somebody else, and if they have 8,000 crit and you have 1,000 crit, you will die. There's no... You could both have a level 100 Zeus. You could both have... max twins, reincarnation 3 twins. If you have 1,000 crit and they have 8,000 crit, you just lose. And there's nothing more you can do other than raise your crit. Balancing units and items such as the bow becomes increasingly difficult. The bow tends to dominate in terms of efficiency. And the gameplay experience with certain units varies greatly between players of different crit levels. Players returning to the game after a long break often struggle to compete with others, and that gap keeps growing over time. To address these and other issues, we're working on a new game stat designed to refresh and expand gameplay, as well as to solve what we see as the key problem of the current crit system. What is the new game stat? Is your question, or should be your question right now. In an upcoming version, this stat will first appear alongside a new legendary hero, while other related mechanics will continue to be developed. In future updates, we plan to introduce the property to more legendary units and heroes, taking your existing progress into account, of course. What does this mean? What this means is that they are going to create a new stat. Let's call it mythic damage. That if you have more mythic damage than your opponent, you'll deal more damage. And maybe crit changes to just pure damage. But if you have mythic damage, because every time you sacrifice a unit to Lucia, you get 10 points of mythic damage, 10 additional points of mythic damage. You will now be able to scale higher than people with just regular crit, because crit is now just regular damage. It's now no longer, I'm just making an example. You now no longer have 8,000 crit percentage. You now have 8,000 additional damage to your units. But if you have mythic damage for Lucia and you sacrifice something, now you can gain mythic damage for that battle, right? Because it's obviously per battle basis. You're not fixing a problem. You're just creating a different problem. That's all this is. And for people that have worked really hard on crit, yeah, they'll probably still have a bonus, because somebody with 1,000 crit, if they get 1,000 base damage, and a person with 8,000 crit, they get a bonus of 8,000 damage, but now that doesn't really mean all that much anymore. If this was theoretically what they're changing, it's still a bonus. And it's not, and it would still not scale correctly. And I don't understand what they could possibly change this to where to where they're trying to make it equivalent. Or if they're just going to get rid of it altogether. And if they get rid of it altogether, if they say like, oh, if somebody with 8,000 crit, it's now just nothing. And a person with 1,000 crit, it's now just nothing. Well, then that doesn't change anything. Or does it? And then if they get rid of it, there's so many units that have crit in them. That it's all about, your crit chance to do crit damage. Then you'd have to change the crit chance system. I just don't understand what they could possibly change this to that makes sense. And they're not going to let you know. This post is specifically to let you know that they are doing it and it is happening. The last paragraph is the one that makes me, the one that made me want to do this video to begin with. So what do you think this new gameplay stat might do? How would you like it to affect battles? Your feedback matters. Can I zoom in on that? No, I can't. Your feedback matters. They are acting as if though, oh, underneath this post, please write what you think it's going to be and how you feel about it. How we feel about fucking what? You didn't tell us what it is. So you want us to guess what you have already created in the system, and you want us to, say how we feel about it? How we feel about what? You haven't told us what you changed it to, just that you definitely did change it because it already says here alongside a new legendary hero, Lucia. You're already adding a new thing to the game on a new legendary hero that's going to boost your damage and act as a crit damage replacement. You're changing the crit damage system, and you're like, hey, so what do you guys think about it? And you're like, think about what? You didn't give us anything. Your feedback matters. I'm going to tell you right now, no, it doesn't. I don't know if you need to hear this. I don't know if you think that writing comments is, like if you write feedback, if it matters, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear that because a lot of you guys like writing in comments like it matters. Writing why are you changing this? Talking to them. There's no reason to talk to them. You're not talking to them. You're talking to a teacher. You're a student talking to a teacher. The problem is not the teacher. The problem is the principal. But you do not have access to the principal. And the principal doesn't care about you. The principal doesn't care about, your thoughts or opinions about whether or not to ban Harry Potter. It's just a thing that's happening. You can talk to the teacher. You're not talking to the principal. You can't find the principal. You don't have access to his office. You don't know his phone number. You can only talk to the teacher. And the teacher is telling you something that the principal has enforced, or else they get fired. That's the feedback. Your feedback doesn't matter. You talking about whether or not you think that Harry Potter should or shouldn't get banned to the teacher doesn't matter. Because that teacher only understands this is happening, and they understand it a little bit better than you because you're still questioning it. A lot of people didn't like the taking out Death Wave. What feedback was important in that? A lot of people, one of the biggest changes in this game was magic crystals to magic orbs. A lot of people, the largest quantity of people, I don't want to say everybody, but it felt like everybody was like, the magic crystals to magic orb system sucks. It's awful. They've had to tweak it over the course of time, and now it's fine. But I mean, when it was first introduced... Oh, I'm sorry. No. It was before that. The magic crystal system to the 72 count system, I believe is what the change was that everybody hated. When you needed 72 copies of the same unit, where all of the magic orbs currently in the game, those were all copies. You needed the copies as well as the magic orb as copies of the same unit. When they went from the magic crystal to the 72 count system, that was the biggest change that everybody universally hated. And they were like, let us know your feedback. And so we gave them the feedback, and they're like, okay, well, we're doing it anyway. Just so you know, we're doing it anyway. This is gonna be a great change. And then what did they do? They created magic orbs, which is just going back to the magic crystal system. And they're like, we've heard the feedback. It's like, no, we told you the feedback before. And this is what I mean. I don't have a problem with the game. I have a problem with the developers. I have a problem with the developers choosing to just do things because they think it's correct and because it's their game. And they're like, we're just going to do things. And that's just how it is. Do you think anybody wanted them to remove the pages of secrets from the event pass, from the season pass? Do you think people were like, this gives us too much value. We hate these pages of secrets. Give it to us as a chance and make it 20 instead of 6. Do you think anybody was saying we hate this so much? Please change it. We'd rather upgrade one unit every 7 months instead of every 6 months, paying $10 a month. Instead of paying $20, it was $20 to upgrade a unit. Because you could get 3 pages per season, and it was $10 per season. Do you think anybody was like, oh, we hate this? Do you think, oh, give us your feedback? Do you think we should take out Pages of Secrets? Oh, give us your feedback. We are going to do it, but give us your feedback. We are going to change it to star coins, but please give us your feedback. Your feedback is important to us. Do you think your feedback is important to them? It's not. It's really not. I'm not here to convince the developers what they should do, because they're going to do whatever they want. I'm trying to convince you to understand that every time they make these changes in the game, you either just accept them or you don't. And I accept that this is just going to be a change. I am just angered when they play with the community. This is not me being angry about whatever they're going to do to crit. This is me saying that the reason why I'm even making this video is your feedback matters. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them. They make changes in this game, good ones or bad ones, and your feedback doesn't matter. You're writing a comment on the Discord, you writing a comment on the YouTube, you writing a comment on their Facebook, it doesn't matter. They have to tell you that it matters because they can't say it doesn't matter. In the same way that every business, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but every business has to say we're hiring. Whether they're hiring or they're not, they have to say we're hiring. And the reason why is because if you're a person of color, for example, and you walk into a business and you say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Are you guys hiring? And they say no. You can actively treat that as racism. And so every job, every store, everything that you ever walk into, try it. Say, hey, are you guys hiring? And they will not say no, because you could sue them for discrimination, any kind of discrimination. You could say that they looked at you and they were discriminating against you and didn't want to hire you. Now, whether or not they are full up and they don't need to hire anybody is besides the point. They have to accept your application and then just not call you back. That's fine. Because, oh, well, we're fully staffed. We looked at your application. You're a great candidate. We're fully staffed, right? They are required to say, share your thoughts. Your feedback matters. Your feedback doesn't matter. That's my entire purpose for making this video. This is yet another change for this 33.0. That's awful. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. We'll see what it's going to be and how that changes anything. But my guess is that it's just going to create a different problem. It's just going to create like new event units that you now need to buy because of mythic damage, whatever it's going to be. Whatever they're changing crit damage to and whatever they're adding as a replacement or whatever they're doing. It's just going to make you chase a different mythic or event unit for a different reason. And now they're going to have to they're either going to have to go back and fix all of the crit damage, crit chance modifiers that are on every unit, or they could take a page out of their own playbook and just not. And just have new units that do new cooler things, and just every other unit starts to fall by the wayside. And just not matter. And just simply not matter. Not scale. Because it doesn't have mythic damage. The mythic damage scaler. And it would be a new way to introduce a cooler, newer event unit that has better scaling than previous event units because it has this new cool thing. And they could just be like, we don't care about the old Pantheon units that aren't Pantheon units anymore. Who cares? The fact that everything has some kind of cleanse and old units don't have a cleanse at all. Like how Boreas doesn't have a cleanse. They didn't like go back into Boreas and say, oh, Boreas doesn't have a cleanse and it doesn't have a damage modifier that grows over time. Let's fix that. They're like, no, just buy a Bard and it has both of those things. And it's cooler. And it's a newer thing. We're not going to fix Boreas to make everything in line with everything that's happening currently. So if they add this new thing to new units, are they gonna go back and like fix old units? Is Genie gonna get a mythic damage, modifier? Is it gonna change on the Genie Fist? Are they gonna go back and you know what they're gonna say? We have plans to eventually rework all of the old units soon.